Hello. Sorry, that was a weird way to try to turn up my volume. Y'all, it's been a minute. Hi, I'm alive. I hope you're well. So basically, I was doing, for the first part of the year, I went through the Gospels. So we did Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But I did a 21 Days of John challenge. Hi. Which led up to Easter, right? So it caused me to have to stop in the middle of Luke, kind of, right? Luke 19. So I owe it to y'all to at least finish Luke. So today I'm going to do Luke 19, and I mean, I might just try to knock them out, right? Do Luke chapter 20 the next day and so on, so we can at least finish Luke. If any of you guys don't know, the Gospels are up on my YouTube channel. So I have Matthew, I have Mark, I have John fully, and I have Luke up to chapter 18, but I want to pick up where we left off at Luke chapter 19. And just a little update. I mean, those of you that have followed along know, but I was moving, right? So God is so good, and just, we're always in seasons of, I mean, we're always going from one season to another, or we're in the middle of a season, right? But just knowing when a chapter is coming to an end, and it's always interesting. Transition feels so weird. It can kind of put you in a funk is the word I like to use. I don't like to speak negativity over things. Even if I have a lot of emotions and I'm overwhelmed, I don't sit there and listen to them. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, how everybody quotes it, and there's a book that says, like, don't believe everything you think, and then people quote it like it's from Socrates and like some Greek philosopher, but the Bible actually says it first in Proverbs, where it says, as a man thinks, so he is. And so anyway, just understanding our psyche and understanding the things that we think and the things that we feel, and how it says to take your thoughts captive, right? So when I start having a lot of feelings that I don't know how to navigate, I literally just give them to God, right? It's like, cast your anxieties on me. And so I just call it a funk. Like I said, I don't like to call it anxiety. I don't like to call it depression. I don't diagnose any of it. I just realize that a lot of thoughts are going on, and I don't need to even try to process all of them or understand them or get a grip on them, right? That's self-effort, but to literally just give them to Him and be like, what do you say is true? And always come back to the place of, like, He's my comfort, and I know that I'm loved, and I know that things are working out, and I know that I'm on a journey and an adventure, and that life has purpose, and right. So it's always just like getting back into alignment. So anyway, I've been in a transition of moving. I'm in my beautiful home. Some of y'all know, because when I did the 21 Days of John challenge, it was like an echo chamber in here. Everything was like, like I was in a cave because I had no furniture. And so now that I have furniture back in here, but I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I had tenants living in my house, and that is a God story. I mean, I have a God story about getting this house, but also that once I was in it, I started to have this feeling. And this is when, I always tell people too, like, if you're trying to discern between if you're hearing the voice of God or like your own, right? Something of opposition, your flesh, right? Romans 8 says the mind is governed by the spirit of the flesh. That it's like your flesh seeks pacifiers, right? It seeks coping mechanisms. It's like going to go back to its own habits. And it's like the spirit is almost going to be discomfort. It's going to lead you towards growth. And so I'm sitting here in this excess, right? This abundance, this favor, all this stuff where I could be very selfish and be like, me, I've got it all. I'm sitting on top of the world. And I was sitting here and I just felt like it was too much or something. Like, at least for the season I was in, I just heard a voice say, like, someone else needs this. And I just thought it was cool, because it was almost like God entrusted me with the home. Like, now that I look back, I'm like, you gave it to me because you knew I would give it to them. Like, you put it in my hands because you knew I would be the homeowner that would be willing to share, where there's a lot of other people that maybe if they got a home, they would never, right? People start idolizing things, and they start to get really protective of their materials and all of that kind of stuff. And so, and listen, not to say that I didn't have those feelings too. I'm thinking, no, I want to be a spoiled brat. I like this. This is good. But like I said, just being a spiritual person and knowing the Lord and just being like, and just knowing that's not the way I think. I don't think that generously. I want to be generous, but like when the opportunity comes and realizing, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity for generosity, that it's like, whoa, it's not normal of me to be sitting in the middle of a blessing and almost feel like it's indulgent. It turned from something that was good to something that, like I said, it was almost being tested. Was I going to idolize it? Was I going to overindulge? Was I going to just anything, right? Turn it into anything else. And so I felt on my heart like someone else needed this house. And so I told the Lord, I was like, listen, I will put it up for 30 days. And if you want someone to be in it, you'll bring them in those 30 days. And if not, then I heard you wrong. And at least I tried. I'll say that like I was obedient. I put myself out there. That's what I love too about the relationship is we always want God to do all the work, but it's partnership, right? So it's like he has things waiting for us, but there's also our part in it. And realizing that like I've thought of this recently of me thinking, like realizing I don't want to be the one holding anything back. This is the whole idea of being a living sacrifice. This is the whole idea of the brides with the oil in their lamps and being ready, right? Being fit for the kingdom. The whole thing I teach, what is fitness? Fitness is readiness. It's preparedness. Being ready means that like I could get a call right now and I can go, right? I don't need to like get my stuff together, right? There's a readiness. And so to think the Lord is always calling, but I would rather be in a state of readiness and I'm waiting on him so that when he gives the cue, whenever is the time, right? Whenever is the opportunity for me to seize, the occasion for me to rise to, this is part of the he prepares a place for you. Preparing a place is also like preparing a moment. Like he has a future time. He's got a space, an appointment, if you will, right? It's an appointed time for you. And anyway, me being ready so that when that time comes that I can go versus there being opportunity all around me and I'm missing it because I'm not ready. But so anyway, I was like, if you want them, you'll bring them. And he did. And it was one of those things where it's like just all the things lining up, you know, where these people reach out to me and my listing was pretty harsh and pretty basic, like basically kind of like just unprofessional. And these people called and they're like, yeah, I could tell that you weren't, like a property manager because it was kind of like, if you break it, you buy it and like call me. And so they called and I was like, listen, I'm not even convinced I'm going to let anybody into my house. That's where I'm at right now, but we can at least entertain this conversation and see if it comes to resolve. And so then it was time for their friend to come over to my house and their friend's name was Esther. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a cool name. Okay, God. And then it hit me and I was like, wait, final straw. Like if they don't love the Lord, I'm not letting them in my house because these walls are filled with prayer. I mean, this place is like a sanctuary and there's so much just like worship that has gone on in this house. And I realized, whoa, if people bring in stuff and they're just doing anything dark, right? Like whether it just be like salacious, promiscuous lifestyle, it be any sort of witchcraft, it be any sort of like speaking death just because people of the world, right? It's like if you're not speaking life, are they speaking death? Are they liars? Are they cheaters? Are they stealers? Like, I don't know. I just didn't want that in my walls. And I just thought I'd have to do a purge, like a cleanse after. And so I was like, they have to love you. And when Esther came over, she walked in and saw a Bible on my table and she was like, are you a Christian? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, the people moving in are pastors. And I was like, and in that moment, I was like, I just lost my house. Like, okay, there you go. You've just confirmed it and now I don't know what to do. And I had no step two. I'm a strategist. That's what I get paid for. That's what I've done for companies to help build and sustain companies is their strategy. And this was like, God told me step one and he didn't tell me step two. It was like, you got to give up the house. I didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do after, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that was 18 months. What's crazy is I'm back in this house and I'm like, I feel like I was at a time warp. How did 18 months go by? Like that much life has happened. I'm 18 months older. But it's also cool because I feel like there's like fresh wind and I'm feeling provoked and inspired. And a lot of the stuff that I kind of let get dormant and stagnant over those 18 months is like revitalized and I feel invigorated and it's just cool. So I love God and I love seasons and all that kind of stuff. But so anyway, I'm back here. I didn't know I was going to be back. When it was time for their lease to be up, I'm like, Lord, do you want me to move back? And they moved out. Am I supposed to sell the house? Am I supposed to rent it again? Am I supposed to what's going to happen? So anyway, I'm back in the house. And that was a very long intro. So I'm sorry, you guys, because we're supposed to be reading the Bible. But it's all about the Lord anyway, right? That's my testimony. He's in my life. And hopefully that gives you guys some encouragement of how he could show up in your life. And just uncertainty. I've been helping a girl and it's the course that I'm building, but how we care so much about control and we try to control the environment around us when actually the only thing that we have autonomy over is ourselves. And that's why self-control is a fruit of the spirit. Like if you want to control something, right? Have a sound mind, let the Lord regulate you, be balanced. That's what control is anyway. You're trying to regulate, but you're trying to regulate everybody else and everything outside of you. But anyway, just that it's his story and he's revealing it to me and I trust him. And again, if it just allows you guys to trust the season that you're in and that uncertainty, and realize that there never is certainty outside of understanding that, like, your faith, right? The word faith, confidence is in the Lord. So you got to figure out where your confidence is. And if you say you have faith, then that means you have confidence in him, which means that is your certainty. That is your security. There is no such thing as insecurity. If you have insecurity, then you don't have faith, because faith would be security. And I was telling my mom this morning of, like, this is why when he talks about, do you put your trust in God or in money? Because why do you think it's called a trust fund? Why do you think they're called securities, right? It's the same thing. We're using those words, but we're saying that we put our confidence in our money versus provision. But so anyway, just that this whole idea of uncertainty, but when you have faith, it's like you have the most certainty, right? Hebrews 11:1, what is faith? It is certainty. It is the assurance of what we hope for, right? And the unseen, because what we hope for, right? You do not hope for what is seen. If you hope for what does it say in Romans? It says, we do not hope for what is seen, for hoping in what is seen is not hope at all, or something like that, right? Like, hope is always going to be ahead of you. It's always going to be out in front of you, because once you get something, it's like there's no more hope in it. There's no more faith in it. There's no more believing. You have the thing. Okay, so that's my little tangent. I need to pray. We need to get started. Luke 19. Okay, Lord, God, I just thank you for inspiration, and that you're constantly calling us forward and higher, and just that you light the fire in our heart. And that even though my heart is on fire for you always, that the fire extends beyond me to those around me, that we get to walk together, that we share life together, that we encourage each other and build each other up and speak life. And that today is the day we've been given. Your word applies to us here and now. It pierces through and convicts us here and now. You comfort us here and now. So we're just so grateful that you are a God that's so much bigger than us. You're before us and you're behind us, but you also meet us right where we are, because now is when we need you. We always need you right now, where we are, to take the next step. I thank you that you guide us, that you give us instruction and direction out of your kindness, that you lead us. And so may we not struggle to follow. May we not be stubborn and resistant, but may we yield and gladly, willingly follow you. Want to see what it is that you want to show us and that you have in store for us. I just thank you for your patience, Lord, that as we go through seasons and we trust you and it looks like a rocky road and wonky, and just that we don't do it perfect, but that you are the one perfecting us. As long as we are just in your presence with you, trusting you, bringing our mess, bringing all the stuff that we need to figure out, and not trying to figure it out on our own, Lord, but trusting that you are there to work with us and in us and through us and help us. So I just thank you in my life, Lord, that you help me, that you are patient with me, and that you work through me. And may it be a witness to others. May those that are listening now, or those that are going to watch this video whenever they do, just that they have a fresh wind and inspiration, and their heart feels set on fire, just even in this moment, enough to last for the rest of the day, whatever it is that they need, but that they keep coming back to you. We are thirsty souls, and you are a well that never runs dry, so that we just keep coming back to you, and there's always more. You are abundant, and you are generous, and you do not withhold. So we just love you. We trust you. You are our security, Lord. So speak to us today, whatever it is that you have for us. In Jesus' name, amen. Y'all, I don't know what today's chapter is. Like last time when I was doing Luke, I was on a roll, right? I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm in the parables. Again, I had been doing Matthew every day, Mark every day, Luke every day. And then I switched because Luke led into my John challenge. And so I just started doing John every day. And so now I'm out of it. Now I'm in a new season, a new mindset. But the word of God always applies. This is what's cool, is it's like, it's not just for who I was yesterday. It's for who I am today and who I am tomorrow. And even this version of me that's grown a little bit, that's learned a little bit more. Do y'all hear? My dishwasher is singing. Oh my gosh, my appliances, my dishwasher and my washer and dryer, when they finish, they're very proud of themselves, so they do a little song. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, I'm glad that happened right now and not during the prayer. That would have been distracting. But anyway, okay, so Luke chapter 19, let's see what we have in store. Zacchaeus, the tax collector. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. So lots of us probably know this story from like Sunday school, right? Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, whatever. You know what's cool about this? He was eager. It reminds me of the parable, or not the parable, I guess not a parable, it was the story of the friends that have their, that have the guy on the mat, and there is a crowd between them and Jesus. And Jesus is like in a building, and this is the whole Tear Off the Roof. If you haven't heard the song by Brandon Lake, he has a song called Tear Off the Roof. It's about that story. But they refuse to just look and go, this is kind of inconvenient. I guess we're not going to do it today, right? Sucks. They were like, we're going to find a way. And they push through the crowd, they climb up onto the roof, and then they tear a hole in the roof and lower their friend in front of Jesus, right? How bad do you want it? I heard somebody say this, and they were talking about like songwriting. Oh, it was Russ. And he was like, listen, he goes, I want a six-pack, but not that bad, right? And so he was talking about music and like making it in the industry, and he was like, you gotta want it, but like, how bad do you want it? And it goes back to when Jesus asks the lame man that's like by the fountain, he says, do you want to be healed? This is something that I deal with in counseling, right? One of the very first questions is, do you want to be healed? Because he's like, you've been sitting here for over 30 years saying, I can't get up, I can't get up. Have you tried? Right? So he's like, how badly do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? Because we like to complain and we like to say, oh, woe is me, like I can't. And it's like, well, do you really even want it? How badly do you want it? Because when you want it, there's something different. There's something that lights up inside, and that's our spirit, that's our strength, that's our might, right? It's the Lord. The vigor. And we lose that when we neglect our spirit and we're just this mind body. We've like shut off a part of ourselves. We don't have the might. What's the source? What's the power? But anyway, he says, do you want to be healed? And the guy's like, of course. Of course. Okay. Jesus says, well, then get up. Get up and carry your mat. I love that. I love that he just looks, he's like, so do you really want it? So Zacchaeus, I want to see Jesus. He didn't make an excuse. He climbed a tree, which also, what I hear in that is humility. Rather than I'm a man of stature, I'm so cool, Jesus can come to me. Or like, you know, I'm just like, I would never climb a tree. That's for, you know, the sad people that like are just whatever. I don't know. He didn't care what anybody thought. He wanted to see Jesus, and he knew he was short, and he didn't let that be his excuse. He climbed a tree. There was a tool, there was a resource right there that he could use, but it took humility. It took him accepting his current situation and then seeing like what could be done about it, and then actually taking the step to do the thing about it, right? Because it's like God gives us the tree, right? But then we have to actually climb it. And we'll say like, God, well, why don't you make me climb the tree, or climb the tree for me, or put me on top of the tree, right? And this is back to the participation thing. God's like, there's a tree right there. How about do you want it? So he wanted to see Jesus. Verse 5, when Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, oh, sorry, I've never heard that before. That never hit me before like it just did. Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. Okay, so the Lord, right? Seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. I will be found by you. I'm thinking like Zacchaeus was seeking the Lord and he got him. He got Jesus. He got more of Jesus than he anticipated. He just wanted a view. Now he gets Jesus's company, right? That's what it shows when we offer our heart. When we say, Lord, I just want to know you. I just want to see you. I just want to be around you. And the Lord's like, I don't even want to say wish granted because that sounds like a genie, but the Lord's like, this is the whole, he has more than you could ever ask or imagine, right? He's like, you ask for this much of me. It's the faith of a mustard seed thing. And it's like, think about how big the tree is that's inside a little seed. All the trees around us, right? I talk about this all the time. that the Lord's like, you give me this little bit, and I've got so much more for you. So all Zacchaeus did was give the Lord his heart, was just say, I'm interested in you. I just want to see who you are. And Jesus was like, you know what you get in return for that? Me. You actually get me. That's how good God is. All we have to do is inquire. All we have to do is literally say, I just want to know you. I want to see you. Help me see you. Right? Our blindness, the perception. Help me have eyes to see. Help me have ears to hear. I know you're here. I want to acknowledge you, but I don't even know where you are. Where are you? Help me see you. And he's like, I will show you that I'm everywhere. And I'm with you and I'm in you, right? Jesus says, just like I'm in the Father and the Father's in me, I am in you. You are in me, right? Union, relationship, one, connection. So anyway, that's what God gives. God's like, you just show up and I'll give you everything I am, everything I have. He doesn't withhold. But also, I think it's cool that Jesus looked up. Someone said, that's like a part of pride versus humility, right? Is that when you're proud, you only look down on people. Right? That's what haughtiness is. Height. I have heightened myself. Self-esteem, self-estimation. I have determined my own value, and my value is greater than others, which is why I love that the Lord says, do not value yourself over others, right? He says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but value others as greater than yourself. Look up to others, because they'll be looking up to you. That's the whole point. It goes both ways. And this is why the last will be first, that whole thing too. Don't act like you're oppressed. When you put yourself on the bottom, when you serve, it's the banquet parable too. When you serve, you get invited up. When you put yourself in a high position, you're going to get asked to sit down. You're going to get skirted. Because what if others don't see the value the way you see the value, right? This is why relativity and this whole thing of like, everybody gets to decide by themselves what is and what isn't and what's true and what's valuable. No, it doesn't work like that. It like mathematically can't work like that. But anyway, that Jesus looked up. Because Jesus could have just been walking. He could have been walking and not seen Zacchaeus, right? Zacchaeus has climbed a tree. He's above Jesus. Jesus is humble enough to look up. That's why the whole idea of like looking up to the Father too when we pray, and it's like this whole thing of like, I am beneath you, I'm looking up. It's not like God is actually like physically above us. Think about when you talk to your boss and your boss is above you. They don't hover over you. It's a ranking system. They are above you in rank. It's like the military. That's why the Lord, the supreme being, supreme chief, first and foremost, right? He's the origin, the progenitor, the source, the seed, the first. It's what makes him priority. He's prior to all things. He is first. That's what this language means. And so we try to be like, oh, this big man in the sky. No, he's not like above you. He's above you in rank. That's why it's humility. That's why there's submission. But anyway, there's still this posture of looking up is like, I am lowly. It's just a heart posture versus looking down of like, I am better than, right? So when you only look down on people and you have no idea what's above you, right? But so anyway, I just think it's cool that Jesus looked up. Like, for Zacchaeus' sake, that he stopped to notice his environment and was willing to even see him, right? So it's like, if you don't look up, think about what you're missing. There's stuff you're missing. You're in like this tunnel vision of selfishness. Okay, verse 7. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. I love it. I love a sinner that was hungry. A sinner that was eager. Right? It makes me think of when Jesus was talking to the religious leaders. And he's like, I came to heal the sick. And if you don't think you're sick, you don't need a doctor, right? It's that pride thing again. So it's like, you know, this whole, oh, he's going to be a sinner and go to be with a sinner. And it's like, good. Those are the ones that are willing to say maybe they're doing something wrong. It's the religious hypocrites that are the ones that think they don't do anything wrong. Right? They're like, I'm better than. It's the tit for tat, I'm better than. Inaccuracy is inaccuracy. I don't care if you are 99% to the goal or 1% to the goal. I'm thinking about like if you shoot a basketball. If you shoot a basketball and you're like, oh, I was 99% there. You still missed. A miss is a miss. Who cares how close you got? Accuracy is in or out. That's the law of polarity. That's the world we live in. Opposites. You're either left or right. You're either up or down. You're either in or out. There's no, well, I was 80% in and 20% out. No, you're either in or out. It's math. It's science. God is a God of math. He's a God of science. He's a mathematician. He's a scientist. Those are his tools. But so anyway, he's gone to be the guest of a sinner, or basically a human. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. I feel sensitive today. Verse 9, Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." Again, so a sinner is a person saying, I'm lost and I'm in darkness and I am confused, right? And Jesus says, "I call you out of darkness and into light." And then he says, right, that after John 3:16, it's like John 3:18, when he says they hated him because they hated the light. They loved their darkness. They loved their secrecy. That is the religion. That is hypocrisy. That is, I have certain things I give God, and then I have certain things I don't. And these things are my secrets, and they stay in the dark. I keep them hidden. I don't want to be fully exposed. I don't want to be fully vulnerable. So I'll just hide those things away, and then pretentiously, I will show all of the things that I'm willing to show, right? But anyway, even the word salvation, right? Soteriology is out of danger and into safety. So this is why when God's saying, "I save you," and we're like, save us from what? From danger. From the danger that we get ourselves into, from the danger of our own mind. Hello? I know what it's like to be human. I know what it's like to have an inner battle. And it's twisted in here. It's not just the danger of the world. Now, yeah, the world is dark too. But sometimes it's dark in here. And you're wrestling. You feel like you're wrestling by yourself. And Jesus is like the hand that grabs and pulls you from the pit, right? I pulled you from the pit, from the mire and clay, and set you on a rock. Out of danger and into safety. That is what salvation means. He saves you. He puts you in a safe place. This is what strongholds are. Strongholds are us seeking refuge in something else, and it's something that cannot carry the weight of our burdens. This is what escapism is. We're running from reality. We are, rather than going to him as our fortress and our refuge and our shield, we go to the things of the world, all kinds of whatever it is, right? Promiscuity, a bottle, attention, being a workaholic, money, greed, right? Fame, whatever. All the things of the world, all the things, you know what it is that you're struggling with that you run to. But it's seeking refuge in those things. And they always let us down because they're not true refuge. But it says, it literally is like the word for stronghold is like to run from reality. You're trying to run from reality rather than face it. And that's why it's lostness, it's darkness, it's confusion. There's no clarity in it because reality is clarity. And we want to stay in the dark, we want to stay hidden, we want to stay in the fog, but it's not safe there. And this is like the wake-up call. It's not safe there. You are safe when you actually are with the Lord and you bring everything to the light and you realize he loves you and he forgives you and there's grace, and that's the whole point of reconciliation and the whole point of peace is, what are you running from? Who are you running from? You can't run from you. You can't run from him. You're running deeper into danger. You're running deeper into the things that are destroying you. And then you just don't feel safe, right? But anyway, so Zacchaeus' response to Jesus saying, "Let me come be with you," is he says, "I give half my possessions." It's like, this stuff doesn't matter. Right? Because Zacchaeus is like, I've gone my whole life with all of this stuff and it doesn't matter. And I feel twisted inside and I feel like I'm putting too much value on these things and I'm hurting people, right, for my own gain. And it's like, take it. Take half of my possessions. And I love to. And if I have cheated anyone, talk about cutting corners. It is so hard to work in corporate America because I'm talking about the things you see as far as cheating with numbers and just cutting corners and lies. And when it comes to money, man, And I love that he's like, I will pay them back 4 times. Like, that's his guilty conscience. But it's like, again, the cool thing is we have the guilty conscience, right? And that's the hard part, is like, the conscience is what has let us know we've done something wrong, but then we choose to feel the guilt for it. But then what do you do with the guilt? And it's like, you don't run and hide, and then you don't try to drown it and numb it and suppress it and avoid it. That's why you bring it to God. You're like, I'm guilty. And he's like, okay, well, what are we going to do about it? Because that's the thing that love's going to prove to you, is it doesn't run away. He's not running away. You're running away. You're running in circles. But anyway, that you say, I cheated, man. I've cheated some stuff, and I want a recompense. I want to make it right. I know I did wrong. That's like, gosh, the accountability. The accountability. It's saying, like, I know I did wrong. Like, it's not God saying, well, you owe 4 times. It's his own heart. His own heart was like, I know I did wrong, and I'll give back 4 times. He could have just said, I'll give back what I took. That's just, right? It makes me think about how the Lord works, where it's like, everything is just. The consequences you get for your actions are called justice, right? You get what you deserve. Mercy is the forgiveness aspect, which is what the Lord has shown us. He created mercy. By the way, there's forgiveness, there's reconciliation. You don't have to just get what you deserve. There is justice, but I can forgive it. And then obviously grace is like further than that, is like, I'll give you what you don't even deserve. I'll give you so much more than you even asked for, because I love you. I'm going to show you what love is, because you're fighting love. And all you want is love. All you want is love, but you're looking for it everywhere else. In things that don't contain it. In things that can't love. Your possessions definitely can't love you. They mean nothing. And it's almost like, in a way, maybe it's like the Lord set this up. He gave Zacchaeus all of these possessions because, in a way, he was going to bless these families. These families that got cheated ended up getting 4 times back. So what if you're the family that got cheated? And all you're doing is sitting here, oh, I got cheated. The Lord's not good. What if you're about to get 4 times back? Because of it. Because of justice and mercy and someone's guilty conscience and forgiveness and someone changing their life and their heart. And they realize they were wicked and they don't want to carry that around. And they have abundance and they say, you know what? God entrusted me with all of these possessions so I could distribute them out. Zacchaeus was a distributor. He was a stealer that became a distributor. It's like he gave it all back and then some. So you never know who the Lord is trusting with what and why it's in their hands and how the story is going to unfold. But I love that. I love that his response wasn't just, well, I messed up, so I'm just going to like make everything even. It was like, I have such a generous heart. Like, take it, take more. I'm sorry I hurt you. I inconvenienced you. I disrupted your life and your world, and I put you through hardship. And like, I know that this can't even begin to cover it, but like, I'm going to do what I can. Like, that hard. And then you just stay in that place. Always stay in that place. This is the repentance. This is the changing your mind, turning back where you came from. It's like, why would you ever go back? You can't convince anyone that there's a good reason why you go back. Right? I feel like people go back and it's like, oh, I backslid. Then there's something that you don't really believe. Something hasn't transformed. Because when you get it, there's no other way. Like, how could Zacchaeus ever go back to the old way if he truly, in this moment, it's like his heart is changed. He gets it. If the light bulb goes on, it never has to be dark again. But you just have to stay in the light. That's what Jesus said. Walk in the light. Do not walk in darkness anymore. Walk in the light. You're in the light. I am the light. The word is lamp unto your feet. You've got light, 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 light all the time. Just stay in the light. I actually had this thought too I was talking to someone, we were writing a song, and it was about, people at church, and he was like, how are these people just like, they're just arms are open and they're just singing to the Lord, and he was like, and when I go, I feel so heavy and convicted, and it burns, like it hurts. And I thought about like, when your heart is on fire for the Lord and it's constantly burning, the refinement is like always happening. So it's this like steady burn that like, almost like when you're at the gym and it burns, but it feels good. You've got to this point where you find joy in the burning. And it's not like the big heavy burn like the first time. The first time you come and the light is like piercing. I've talked about this like Smeagol or whatever his name is. It's like in the dungeon and he's like, my precious, like that when the light comes, everything in you is like disrupted. And you think the light is going to take you out until you realize that the light has like taken everything away from you that's not you, and you remain. Right? It's the whole thing of like the silversmith and whatever, right? Like the burning or the goldsmith or whatever it is, where it's like they the burn. You burn all the impurities out of the thing, but the thing still stays. If you burn gold, the gold stays. Everything else goes. So that's what's coming to the light is, but it's like all the impurities are just coming to the surface and you're like, whoa, and it feels like it burns. But all of us also have these impurities, but you're just constantly in it. So it's like this burning is like, I guess it's like less dramatic, if that makes sense, because it's just kind of like constant. You're just constantly, everything you're doing, every thought you have, you bring to the Lord. Every time you notice that you are, maybe just doing something that's questionable or you're not sure, you're always bringing it to God. And you're humble. You're just always humble about it. Ugh, I messed up again. Like, you don't let pride build up so high. The higher pride builds, the way I said, the pride is before the fall. The higher your pride wall builds, it feels like a crash. So it's like when you're humble and you're on the ground, it's like if you start to feel it build a little bit, just give it to God. Build a little bit, give it to God. And so yes, there's discomfort, but it's like this subtle, constant discomfort versus this like life-shattering, like uprooting, flipping on its head, like that whole thing that you go through the first time. And that's why you can't go back. And he says it too. He says it in here. If you go back, you were never here. Those that go back were never actually transformed because you can't. You actually can't. When you are born again, when you are regenerated, regened, right? Like regenesis, which Genesis means birth, creation. You are rebirthed, you are recreated, you are a new creation. Like you can't go back. You can't unknow what you know. So if you are going back, it's like there's something you didn't know. There's something you didn't receive, something you didn't accept, something that you haven't given to God, something you haven't let be transformed in you. And that's the word flesh, by the way, too. Sarkos, flesh, means the part of you that is untouched, the part of you that you haven't let God touch. That's the secret. That's the hidden part. Well, there's this one thing that I want to hold on to. You got to give him it all. You got to be all in. Here we go again, y'all. I don't even know how long I've been doing this. Okay, the parable of the 10 Minas is what it says. I guess that's the money. While they were listening to this, he went on to tell them a parable. Because he was near Jerusalem, and the people thought that the kingdom of God was going to appear at once. Interesting. He said, a man of noble birth went to a distant country to have himself appointed king, and then to return. So he called 10 of his servants and gave them 10 minas. Put this money to work, he said, until I come back. This is the whole thing of where they say you can either work for money or make money work for you. Put your money to work. What are you doing? Hi. Put your money to work. It's just like the spirit and the flesh, right? Your mind is governed by the spirit or flesh. When you are operated by your flesh, when your flesh is the inspiration that is feeding through your psyche, aligning you, God is regulating you out into your behavior, right? The root system with the fruit. Quit focusing on the fruit. Quit focusing on trying to change your behavior. Change your root system. You're transformed by the renewing of your mind, your psyche. What was I saying? Put your money to work. That it is a tool that's given to you. This is why he's saying don't let it be a master over you. Just like he says you're either a slave to sin or a slave to righteousness, right? What do you belong to? What are you a bondservant of? What are you bound to? What do you have a bond with? Right? It's like a relationship. We have a bond. We just have a bond. Okay, well, what are you bound to? It's a bondservant. What do you serve? What do you belong to? What possesses you? Belong is a possessive term. You're either possessed by the Holy Spirit or something else possessing you. Literally. Like, I'm not even just like speaking nonsense. Like, what I'm saying is like so literally true. That's why I love words. That's why I love the logos of God. That's why I love that it's like yes. And the word logos, word and matter. It means word and matter. Matter, like material, materialized. The word made flesh, the word materialized. Words and matter are the same. That's why it's the word of God. He spoke everything to an existence into existence, and our words have life and death, right? It's material. It's the flesh part though. It's the physical. But so anyway, what has mastery over you? And this is why he says you serve God or money. Money is like on the flesh side. God's on the spirit side. If you let God lead you, then money works for you. Just like if you let the spirit lead you, your flesh works for you. Your flesh is your slave, right? When Paul says run your race and he says beat your flesh, like back where it belongs. Time out. Put your flesh in time out. right? You don't tell me what to do. You are the least of this situation, right? You are my tool. You are my vessel for accomplishing things. But when you let the flesh master you, it's the same. When you let money master you, which is the whole world we've lived in. Y'all, I'm telling you, I went through so much to understand like the mental health and the healing and all of that stuff, the emotional and mental. And then it's been like a completely separate transformation to understand like the world in the sense of hustling and careers and jobs and money. And like I didn't realize I was gonna have to go through it all over again. I mean, now obviously my heart is transformed, which is the only thing, the rebirth is once. But I'm just talking about the awareness. Is it was like, oh my gosh, it is not just that the world is selling drug, sex, and rock and roll. It is not just that the world is selling like, you know, numb out, bro, and just like party and like nothing matters and YOLO and whatever. It's not just that, it's the whole other thing. The deeper rooted one is the wake up, clock in, clock out, like money, 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 job, 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 serve, like whatever. This whole system is a whole nother thing where it's like, I love the way God is telling us like how to actually operate in the relationship to have with money. And not to say that you can't be wealthy. God is God of wealth. He is a God of abundance. Abundance. 30, 60, 100-fold. He'll show us more than we could ever try to hustle for ourselves. But it's just this mindset, because what happens is then you start to go into selfish ambition and you start to seek unjust gain and you start to cut corners and you start to be a master of money and you start to the whole thing like Schmeagol with the ring or whatever, you start to become obsessed and it's like your possessions and that whole thing. And it's like your possessions possess you basically. Why are they called possessions? Possess. Okay. So put this money to work. Verse 14, but his subjects hated him and sent a delegation after him to say, we don't want this man to be our king. Okay, right? So a man goes to another country to have himself appointed king. I'm going to be interested to see how the story plays out, because it's like, even that feels weird and arrogant of like, I should be king. So I'm going to go somewhere that's going to make me king. And then his servant, he gives them money and it says, he says, put it to work. It says, but his subjects hated him. Right? And so they said, we don't want him to be king. He was made king, however, and returned home. Then he sent for the servants whom he had given money, in order to find out what they had gained with it. So again, money is a tool for gain. It's a seed to sow. Talked about this with your talents being a seed to sow. Your life is a seed to sow. All of your energy, your time, your attention is seed to sow. And you're either sowing it into vanity, like into nothingness, things without purpose, no fruit, or you're not even sowing it. You're so afraid to lose any of it that you can't gain anything. This is the whole like lose your life to gain it kind of thing. You've got to lose. You got to make the first. That's what investment is. You've got to invest first to get the thing. Sow the seed into the ground for the tree to come. And the tree is so much more than the seed. Why would you want a seed sitting around? It gives you nothing. Right? So all of this is seed to sow so you can gain. Gain is encoded in the system. God has encoded gain in the system. But it doesn't just give you gain out of nowhere. Gain is encoded in the system, in the seed. You sow the seed, you get the gain. There's a right way to do it. He's not holding anything from you. He's saying, oh, well, here's a bunch of seed, right? In Corinthians, it's 2 Corinthians, is it 9? He who supplies seed to the sower. We don't make seed. That is a scientific fact. We cannot make seed. Seed has so much intelligence and design inside of it, an identity already determined inside of it. I can't plant a lemon tree and hope for pears. And I can't change what's inside that stinking seed. The fact that a seed has a realm is so cool. But anyway, the gain is already in it. He's designed the gain already in it. We just participate. And we're mad that we have to participate. We're like, just gimme, gimme, gimme. All you got to do is sow the stinking seed. Okay. 16, the first one came and said, sir, your mina has earned 10 more. This is the parable of the talents. I just realized that. I guess Luke just tells it differently. Well done, my good servant, his master replied. Because you have been trustworthy in a very small matter, take charge of 10 cities. This goes back to the verse 2 where he says those who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. And if you can't be trusted with little, you can't be trusted with much. So you over here that want much, how do you do with little? How do you do with the little that you have? Whatever it is. A little bit of resources. A little bit of resources are enough resources to trust and get started. It shows if you're even willing to take the first step. And you only want to take a step once you have it all. You take the step to have it all. Listen, I'm preaching right now. She's back, right? But so anyway, those who have been trusted with little can be trusted with much. Thank you. Those who cannot be trusted with little cannot be trusted with much. And so he's saying you have been trustworthy in a small matter. He's like, I put you to the test. Tested and proven. We don't like to be proven. We don't like tests because tests prove. Rather than looking and being like, okay, what did it prove? What can I learn about what it proved? Maybe I'm not ready, right? Maybe I'm not who I thought I was. Maybe I don't have the discipline I thought I had, which is okay. It's not a judgment. It's humility. Where we just come back and we go, Lord, I need your help. Help me. Grow me. Mature me. Nobody's asking for that, are they? Mature me. Mature me. That's growth, baby boy, baby girl. Okay. So you have charge of 10 cities. The second came and said, Sir, your mina has earned 5 more. His master answered, you can take charge of 5 cities. Okay. So I'm hearing proportion here. It is proportionate. So what you're receiving and entrusted with is proportionate to your results. Because your results don't lie. Results don't lie. Results are truth. Cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. If you don't like the effect, change the cause. Can't just change the effect. We try to do all our causes. I want to do it the way I want to do it and then change the outcome. It doesn't work like that. You don't like the effect, change the cause. You don't like the fruit, change the root. You don't like your behavior, change your heart. Okay, verse 19, his master answered, okay, you take charge of 5 cities. Verse 20, then another servant came and said, Sir, here is your mina. I'm just going to give you back what you gave me. I didn't do anything with it. This is the whole participation with the Lord, right? The Lord's like, look at this earth I've given you. This wonderful creation. And look, I made you in my image so you can actually create too. Have fun with that. Come up with ideas, get visions from me. I'll conceive in you, and you can start working with your hands, and you can start making things happen and produce things in the world, and we can accomplish things together. That's his original design, right? That's Genesis 1:28. Not only dominion and subdue the earth, but be fruitful and multiply. The design has always been this partnership. So for him to give us a bunch of stuff, and we're like, well, I'll just give it back. More of like I was a vault, a storehouse, and the Lord talks about not having storehouses. He literally says, like, look at the birds, how they're provided for, right? They neither reap nor sow, and they have nowhere to store. And then he gets mad at the people that are storing all their riches, that are like, oh, I have a barn house, let me make a bigger barn so I can store more things. He's like, why are you storing? You know what storing is? Hoarding. Why are you hoarding? That's not a good use of resources. Resources are not meant to sit. That's also a scarcity mindset and a fear mindset. But you're of no use. The whole point of produce and productivity, right, is usefulness. Vanity, by definition, right? Fruitlessness, being unproductive, is uselessness. You're doing things for no use. There's no use. So for you to have a bunch of stuff and you're not using any of it, it's called a waste. It's squandering. It's like the prodigal son. You're just wasteful. You're just wasting your life, wasting your talents, wasting your time. Because you're not putting it to use. You're not putting yourself to use. But so, okay, here's your mina. I kept it laid away in a piece of cloth. Because like I didn't give it to you for you to just sit on it. If I wanted to sit on it, I would have just kept it. Right? If God wants a resource to just sit, he'll just hold on to it. Why would he give it to you for you to just hold on to it to give back to him? Like he's giving it to you, do something with it. And again, we hold on and we're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. He's like, let it go, let it go. I didn't give you seed so you would just be like, seed, 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 seed. He's like, I gave you seeds so you could have trees. But like, we got to get you past this step. Like you're a hurdle for yourself. You're a hindrance. You're an obstacle for yourself. Why won't you let the seed go? That's like what money is. Why are you so obsessed with the seed? The seed does nothing until it's planted. Why are you obsessed with the seed? Right, so he says, I was afraid of you. This is our relationship with God. A lot of us, this is the relationship with God. This is why Adam ran. God showed up for the walk. God showed up, said, hey, Adam, where are you at? Adam was afraid. Adam ran. That's what guilt will do. Because you are a hard man, you take out what you did not put in and reap what you did not sow. Whoa, that's kind of a sassy servant. He's like, I was scared because like, basically you take the profits. But the thing is he was the one that provided the money in the first place. That's the interesting part, is he gave them the 10 minas. And then this guy's like, yeah, but like, you're going to take the profit when you didn't do the work. And he's like, but I gave the investment. What are you talking about? I got you started. And you got to experience. That's a part too where we're like, I want the fruit for me. I want the fruit for me. And it's like, you get to bear the fruit. You get to bring the fruit forth. You get to be of use. You get to feel what it's like to flow with power and with glory, and not your glory, God's glory. And you get to bear witness to others. Like, that is what feels good, is to be of use, to be productive, to see the results and know you were a part of it. The participation is the joy. And part of the definition of sin, if you look it up, it says like a Greek tragedy and like a playwright, and it says trying to run away from your part, from your participation in life. This is running away from responsibility, running away from accountability, but sin is running away from your participation. Participation is the name of the game. Participation is the fun part. Participation is the life part. It's the living part. So are you participating? Are you running from participation? That's the whole, like being vulnerable or open or surrendered or yielded or whatever is, it's because it's saying like, I want to participate. So like, join with me. Let's join forces and do something. But it means like, I've got to let my wall down. I've got to let my guard down. I've got to be willing to be of use, meaning that I don't get to just like, I don't know. It's just the opposite of like the way that we were before you fall in love with the Lord, which is where you just have like a hardened heart and you just only think about yourself and everyone has to serve you, but you don't serve anyone. And it's like the serving is the living. It's the being. It's like everything we're supposed to be. It's being alive, because you're being an available vessel for the Spirit, and Spirit is aliveness. Pneuma, wind, is your life. It's a life source. This is where we feel the fullness of life. He fills us with the fullness of life. You want to feel power rushing through your veins? Participate. You want to be benched? You want to be in the game. Okay, so you reap what you did not sow. His master replied, 22, I will judge you by your own words. That'll preach. Like I always say, where are these verses of the day? Why are the verses of the day always like, cast your anxieties on him? I'll judge you by your own words. That's where when he says too, I know it's in the Sermon on the Mount, he says like, do not judge others, right? He's like, for you will be judged by your own measure. If you want to be the one that sets the standard, then you're judged by the standard you set. Let's play that game. You want to play that game? Huh? Not everybody else is held up to your standard, but you're not. Not nobody else has grace, but you do. Because again, that's relativity. Okay, well then let's apply that to every other human on the planet. Not a good system. This is why we didn't design the system. So, I will judge you by your own words, you wicked servant. You knew, did you, that I'm a hard man? Like, right? You thought I was a hard man? Okay, let's go with this. Let's go with your narrative. That's what I love. Oh, I love sassy God. But like, just direct. That it's like you make an excuse and you build your own narrative, and he's like, okay, let's go with your narrative. So you knew I was a hard man. Taking out what I didn't put in and reaping what I didn't sow. Well, why then didn't you put my money on deposit? If you knew I was going to come looking for some kind of gain, the safest thing you could have done was at least put it in a bank and get some sort of interest. It's still safe. You didn't want to be risky with it, but you did nothing with it. I love the Bible. It just calls us out. It's so good. You can't argue with it. It's so convicting because you can't argue with it. It's so true. And we make all these excuses and we try to justify ourselves. We think we're getting away with things, and it's like no one buys it. No one believes you. You don't even believe you. When you lie, you're getting away with things, and it's like no one buys it. No one believes you. You don't even believe you. When you lie, you know. Okay. So he says, why didn't you put my money on deposit so that when I came back, I could have collected it with interest? Then he said to those standing by, take this mina away from him. Can't be trusted with it. So when you've been entrusted with something and you're not doing anything with it, and the Lord sees that it is fruitless, you are not spending it, you are not investing it, it's not just about money. This is about all resources. The Lord is the Lord of provision. We're talking all resources. This goes back to me with my house. He gave me a house and it was like, let someone live in it. What was I going to do with my resource? Was I going to go, well, it's mine? I didn't. You gave it to me, so like, do with it what you want. And I'm provided for. Right? I can do the math. I'm provided for. Someone's paying my mortgage and I just got to go put my head to rest somewhere else. I'll be okay. I'm a big girl. I'll be okay. But anyways, like, take this mina away from him and give it to the one who has 10 minas. So this is where when we get all rotten about other people growing, sowing and growing so much in their life, and we think it's unfair. No. We all have seed. What are you doing with it? And again, if you think, well, they started with more, this isn't about who started with more or less. He says, if you can be trusted with little, you can be trusted with much. So even if you have 1 seed and your neighbor has 100 seeds, turn that 1 seed into 2, turn 2 into 4. You'll get there. Be patient. Follow the system. It works. The gain is inside the seed and you'll get there. But if you just pity party around and putz around and you don't do anything, then you'll lose your seed. Okay, fine, lose your seed. Have it your way. Basically, that's literally what it is. Have it your way, fine, right? God's like, you can do it my way. There's all this gain for you. There's all this stuff in the future. I have so much for you. I have so much abundance for you. And then we're like, I don't want it. I don't want to participate. I don't want to sow the seed and have gain. And he's like, okay, have it your way. Right? This is the choice part. This is the participation part. He can't make you choose to participate. That's why I said it's sin. Sin is not participating. Literally. You become inoperative. It's part of the definition. Like, there is operative and inoperative. The branch that's on the tree, the branch that's on the ground that dies, can't bear fruit and gets made into firewood. But this is what he says, though for all of us, he's made a way back. Hey, you branch on the ground, you can graft back in. Salvation, baby, come back in. I got all this available for you. I got all this spirit and power available for you, but I'm not going to leap it over to you when you said you didn't want it. Come back, plug yourself back into the outlet. We got abundance for days. Let's go. Let's start over. Let's start producing some stuff. You could be operative. It's not too late. It's never too late. Okay. So, oh my gosh, the guy, his response, right? So verse 25. So he says, take it from him and give it to the guy who has 10. And verse 25, sir, they said, he already has 10. Oh my gosh, they sound like toddlers. Oh, he already has 10. He's going to do something with it. He replied, I tell you that to everyone who has more, or to everyone who has, more will be given. But as for the one who has nothing, even what they have will be taken away. But those enemies of mine who did not want me, right? The Lord knocks and we have to open up the door. He's like, you don't want me, right? I can't make you want me. I can't make you want abundance. I can't make you want gain. I can't make you want to participate. I can't make you sow your seed. I can't make you experience everything if you are like a valve that's shut off. You're resisting. All you're doing is resisting. That's why the answer is just yield. It's not try harder. It's not self-effort. It is not religion. It is yield. It is surrender. It is open up. Just let them flow through, right? Stream. Flow through. But he says, the enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me. Whoa. I feel like I want to see what that parable means, because I feel like it's also probably too talking about how it's like, I don't know. I was going to say a man-made king, and how it's like even kings, right, in our earth understand order, right? Understand. Like, to say, like, we get mad at God for having rules and regulations, but like every job you've ever worked at has rules and regulations. The government has rules and regulations. You know what I mean? Where it's like even the world operates this way. So you can try to run from God all you want. You're still going to have to deal with it in the world. Like, what are you talking about? At least God loves you. The world doesn't love you. The world operates the same exact way. They get it. Everybody else gets it. It's how things operate. But also, like I said, this is where it's like you look things up and you study and you understand the Greek and like what is Jesus talking about and what's he referring to and all of that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm grateful that I read this a few times and I studied it so that it is written on my heart now, because it used to be so confusing to me. This whole, those who have will have more, and those who do not have will have less. Like everything will be taken. And I remember being like, what the heck does that mean? And the metaphor that's used, or the example that's used, is like strength and weakness. And so think like the more strength you have, it's like as you get stronger, gosh, I don't even know how to make it make sense. It's super simple. But it's like, think about the gym. Like when you get stronger, like you have more strength. And like when you have more strength, you can get more strength. It's that kind of thing. This is almost makes me think about the poverty mindset. Like maybe where this is coming from is why it's like where people make it a little bit more of a worldly interpretation. That's why it's like just the step in the right direction. Like when you have strength, you actually can get stronger. But then it was like, but when you are weak, you just get weaker. Like you're increasing in weakness. It's like either way is increase. You either have strength, and then because of that strength, you can increase in strength and you keep getting stronger. And then like the strength is a foundation, but then when you're going into weakness, if you are weak and you don't do anything about it, you increase in weakness. So those who have not will like have less. It's like you increase in weakness. So anyway, it's profound. That is a profound statement. I love the poetry of the Bible and just the intelligence and wisdom, obviously, of Jesus. I mean, the wisdom that created the world, right? It's in Proverbs. Is it Proverbs 4? By wisdom, he created the world, right? The Holy Spirit. This is beyond wise. It is like beyond intelligence and knowledge. Because when you hear this stuff, my head doesn't even know what's happening. But everything in my being is like, yes, what? That is like the most coolest, truest thing I've ever heard. My brain doesn't even have to get it. My brain does. It's like my brain follows along. My brain is like, whoa. Like, you're smarter than me. Like, my brain is humble, right? My brain is like, whoa, that was cool. I just learned, right? Just learned something. But I love that picture. Okay, Jesus comes to Jerusalem as king. After Jesus had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As he approached Bethphage and Bethany at the hill called the Mount of Olives, he sent 2 of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and as you enter, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' say, 'The Lord needs it.'" This is a prophecy being fulfilled. We've already read it. I guess it's in 2 of the other Gospels, because I'm pretty sure I remember reading it in Matthew, where Matthew is good about always identifying where it was in the Old Testament. Matthew will be like, in Isaiah 54, this prophecy came, like this came true, or whatever, right? But he talks about how the king will come in on a colt. And again, it's like the humility of it, right? And just like all the symbolism. This is where when you start to love the word, like first of all, it's like just fall in love with Jesus because you realize he loves you. Right? You realize God loves you, and God expressed it, right? The logos of God, the expression of God, the appearance, he made it known. He made himself known. He revealed himself so that we weren't guessing anymore. We weren't back here being like, so do you hate us or what's happening? He came, he's like, no. And religion's got it all wrong, because religion's just like every other abuse of power. Right? Jesus came to like flip religion. He's fighting with religion in here. That's the whole point. That's why I don't understand how we got where we are. I grew up religious. I grew up in the church. And then I started reading the Bible, and I'm like, how the heck? Because it's like, because people don't want to read this. That's why I'm reading it to y'all. And that's why I'm making these videos, and they're going to be on YouTube, because I've never seen a Bible study before that I could just watch. And like, I don't know, for generations to come, I just want the Bible to be on the internet, like said and spoken and interpreted and talked about, because a lot of people won't read it. And this changes everything. You start to realize, oh yeah, everything that you think and hate about, religion and that whole thing, you're right. Do you know what Jesus said about it? Do you understand what Jesus said about any of this stuff? And so I just hope that the future generations, like that we just fall in love with this, because this, what Jesus actually said, changes everything. And how he knows how to call us out. Okay, I had to do a test. How he knows how to call us out on our hearts It's all about love. And I love that he says the law is love. It's always been love. God designed and coded creation out of love. Accuracy and inaccuracy are out of love, right? Like, it is not this like aggressive, hatred towards you. Judgment and hatred, it's like we make it different. We put a bias on judgment because when we judge, we have a bias. Judgment is just consequence, cause and effect. He just created cause and effect. And we get super frustrated that we can't change the outcomes of our choices. We want to have that level of control, and no one ever told us we got that level of control. Our control is in the choice, is in the cause, not the effect. We get to choose and then deal with whatever the result is. Right? That's how that works. Like I said, the only other one is self-control. But self-control is a fruit of the Spirit. It's still in union with God, right? But we try to control others. I talked about that earlier. Okay, so anyway, he's fulfilling a prophecy, and then I love how it's like, again, that when God calls us to do something, you can feel weird about it or uncomfortable about it or overthink and be like, well, what are people going to say? What are people going to do? And first of all, who cares? Right? In Isaiah 2:22, he says, why do you esteem man? He's but a breath in his nostrils. And then in Galatians 1, he says, like, why are you so focused on pleasing people when you should please God? So we're against people pleasing here. But how when you care what people are going to think, and so it causes you to not do what God has prompted you to do, no matter how strange, and to be obedient, right? So now you're being disobedient, you're sinning, right? In the sense you are running from your participation. That he tells you what to say. And even if you think saying it, you're like, if I say that, they'll never believe me. But you don't know what he put on that person's heart. You don't know that he didn't already prepare that person that day of like, hey, just so you know, like, you need to be generous with these cults. Like, maybe this man has been like obsessed with every cult he's ever had, and he's like, ah, ha, 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 and then he finally feels in his heart like, maybe cults aren't that important. Maybe I've been putting a little bit too much pressure on this. And then like right then they come up and they're like, hey, can we have your cult? So just to say again, like, you don't know how he's preparing other people too. Or they've prayed something and they're like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? If you could just show me. And then you walk up and they're like, okay, you just answered my prayer. So that's the part where we think we need to have all the answers. You don't know. You don't know that the other person's heart and what they need to hear. And what they need to hear is like, rather than you strategizing the perfect way to say something, maybe your weird, wonky, broken way of saying it is actually exactly what they needed to hear, because the way that you say it is the way that their mother always said it. They're like, my mom used to always say that. And you're like, really? Interesting. Okay, well. So just go with it. Just trust him. Go with it. It's not all about how you look and just, again, you being in control. You don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Okay, verse 32. Those who were sent ahead went and found it just as he had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked them, why are you untying the colt? So I love that he prepared. He's like, and if they ask, but it's like when they ask, basically. And they were comforted in that. It wasn't like he didn't tell them and then they found themselves in that situation and it's like, this is the whole like him equipping us. But also, I just love that it's like he gave them the answer to already have ready. Right? It's like, okay, and when this gets asked, don't get in your head and don't get sweaty palms and don't be like, I've already told you what to say. They replied, the Lord needs it. They brought it to Jesus, threw their cloaks on the colt, and put Jesus on it. As he went along, people spread their cloaks on the road. When they came near the place where the road goes down to the Mount of Olives, the whole crowd of disciples began joyfully to praise God in loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. This is what's so crazy, because we know, obviously now we're entering into Holy Week. We talked about it before, I've talked about it before, of the whole Hosanna, Hosanna, and just the hypocrisy of these people who are like, Hosanna, Hosanna, which means save, save, right? First of all, same as what I just said, we don't know what saving looks like. So we want God to save us from a situation, but we don't know what saving looks like. So he's going to save us the way he wants to save us, or knows that saving is actually going to happen, not the way we want the story to be written. So they're saying save, save, but they don't know what save means and what save looks like. He is going to save. And he's not just going to save the Jews, he's going to save humanity. It's so much bigger. And he's going to save them through love, through reconciliation, through mercy, through death. He's got to overcome death. He's like, listen, I know that y'all are all consumed with this life and how you feel like, but I want to be rich and I want to be famous and I want to be whatever. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to die. I need to handle death. Death is the final enemy that I'm going to defeat. I'm going to show you that I'm a God that is of life. Death can't beat life, right? Absence can't beat presence. Light is more powerful than dark. And he's like, and I'm going to show that the grave is just, your spirit's just sleeping. Yeah, we're doing away with this flesh because this flesh is what caused us to sin, right? The wages of sin is death, but it's like the flesh is death. The flesh is dying. But for him to give us hope, right? It says he came so that there would be no fear in death. So it's like, that's the thing we needed to deal with, was to see resurrection and realize, whoa, this isn't a one-way street. There's actually another chance. Like, and this is why we can have resurrected life here and now, but it's like, whoa, I can die to myself, die to my flesh, crucify my old self on the cross and be resurrected with him here and now, rebirth, new me, new life. That is what we needed to know was possible, right? And the word possible, sorry, just made me think it's the same as the word miracle. Dunamis, right? Power, strength, might, possibility, something being possible. We talk about the impossible, right? It is impossible for man, but it is possible with God. Anything is possible. I think about Frank Turek says, he's like, the greatest miracle of all time was not the resurrection. It was the creation of everything. If God can create all of this, he can raise from the dead. He can have a virgin birth, right? All those other things, it's like nothing is impossible for him. So for us to just wrap our head around all of that, reconcile it, I wouldn't even say wrap your head. I would just say, accept it. Because your spirit knows. That's why when we hear this, it's like, you know. It's not a no here. It's like a no. It's like a deep no. You know. You know. Okay, so loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. Oh, it also makes me think about how quick we are to forget. These people are like, the miracles, miracles, miracles. You healed me. You did this. You did this. And then a few days later, it's like, we hate you, die. You're a liar. You're whatever. And it's like, remembering what the Lord has done in your life, his faithfulness, the little things. Do not forget that he has done these things and he has shown up. And if he's shown up before, he will show up again. If he's shown up before, he will show up again. Don't think he was just a God of the past. Why would he have been there for you in that other situation and he's not going to be there for you in the next one? Hold on to that. Hold on to him. So blessed, I love though that he says, because I think about like the other things too, where it's like, hold on to God, but then the understanding of actually he's the one always holding on to us. He never lets go. And there's a verse that says like, even when you are faithless, he is faithful. That's the whole point. It shouldn't be conditional. It shouldn't be dependent on us. His love is not dependent on us. His steadfastness isn't dependent on us. Otherwise the sun wouldn't rise, right? His covenant with the sun and the moon, his ordinances that he's established wouldn't sustain if they were fickle, dependent on us. He shows that he is established and nothing can shake him. And we can either be for him or against him. We can either be unshakable or we can be shakeable. And if we're shakeable, then that just means everything in our world shakes. And it's always going to shake and it's always going to crumble. Okay, so verse 38. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. See, this is what's so hard is it's their mouths. I think about when he says they honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. This is why you have to have discernment. Because even these people, they are saying the right thing. But when tested, they don't actually believe it. So we get mad when we're tested, but all we're doing when we're tested is we're proving what we believe. We're proving if we said what we meant. I guess it's the opposite. If we meant what we said. We can say all kinds of things. That's what pretense is. That's what lying is. Tons of people can do things. Hypocrisy, right? The two-faced, the mask, the actor. People can say all kinds of things. That's why you're always like, actions speak louder than words. So these people are saying all of this stuff. But when it really comes down to it, they don't mean it. Verse 39, some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. Oh my gosh, this is when he says, even if they're silent, the rocks will cry out. I tell you, verse 40, he replied, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out. As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it. Because oh my gosh, I just think where he's just like, my people, my sons and daughters, my sisters and brothers, like, you're so lost. You're so lost and you don't even know it. And all you care about is actually wicked things. All you care about is like your own like agenda, basically. And you don't know that love is the answer, and you don't really want love. You want quick fixes. You want temporary pleasure, instant gratification. You want to live in this like chaos, this toxicity. And it's crazy because coming from someone that came from it, I mean, I lived in it. You're addicted to the chaos. You're addicted to the toxicity. And everything in you has to change because it's like peace just sounds boring, and peace sounds lame, and peace sounds like the people that just like don't want to have fun. And it's like, I don't even know how to say it. It's just freedom. It's just freedom. I think about, like, I keep seeing this post that says like sin feels like freedom until you try to stop. It's just bondage. When you're finally like, I don't want to do this anymore. Actually, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna quit. And sin's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And if you don't have anywhere else to run, if you've been running to it and you don't have anywhere else to run to, that's why this is a good news. Jesus is like, there is somewhere else you can run to. You do not have to keep running. Run to me. Run to the light. Run, face reality. Run to comfort, because what I'm going to show you is that all the things you're running from, you can face them all and still be loved. That's what you actually need to hear. It's not you'll be loved when you stop doing all those things, is that you're loved right now. And that love makes you stop doing all those things, because you realize, what am I sabotaging? Why am I self-destructive? Like, I don't need to do this anymore. So he wept over the city and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. Open your eyes, wake up. Perceive him, eyes to see, ears to hear. He's everywhere, in everything. Just acknowledge him. Quit putting on blinders and ignoring, right? You try to avoid yourself. You're trying to avoid God too. Avoidance is not a strategy, and it is not healthy to pretend and ignore. Why would you even want to? If you really think about it, if there's information being communicated to you, what benefit is it for you to ignore that information? Why? Why would you want to live in a delusion? It's a delusion. It's an illusion. You want to live in a lie. Why? Why do you want to live in a lie? I think it's because you think the lie is better than reality, but it's not. Because it's not real. The lie isn't better than reality because the lie isn't. The lie is not. Reality is. A lie is not. So there's nothing. You're running to nothing. And then you find nothing there. I just love this, though. He's talking to the city. He's like, if you only knew what would bring you peace. And then he's like prophesying. He's like, so this is what's going to happen. The consequences, right? The cause and effect. I was here, and you could have made a choice, and it could have ended differently, but you didn't. And now the time has come, right? Time's up. So now you will be destroyed, right? And that's why I think even if it's just our own self in a metaphor of like self-destruction, it's like, okay, like I've tried to protect you, but if you keep going out into danger, you're going to get destroyed. And even when you're destroyed, I'm right there with you, and I'll put you back together, and I'll love you. But if you keep running from me and you're going to keep feeling destruction. You're going to keep living in it. And it doesn't have to be this way. Right? Because you didn't recognize. So do you recognize? Do you know his voice? My sheep know my voice, right? Understand this word, you'll know his voice. You'll start to know him. When you know him, you will recognize him, right? Recognition, you will perceive him. He's in everything. There's not a moment of your day that you're not with God. You don't make time for God in your day. There's not a second of your day that you're not with God. He's not a phone call that you make and then all of a sudden he's in your life. He's the breath in your lungs. Even if you don't acknowledge him, that's the thing, is like you're breathing and then you're pretending like he's not with you. That's the distance. That's the alienation, right? Is it Colossians 1 where he says like they were alienated in their mind? You're just pretending. You're just pretending like he's not here. It's an alienation in your mind. I always say it's like when two people are sitting next to each other, but they are worlds apart. There's a distance. We've created a distance, but it's not really there. It's a distance in our heart. It's a distance in our relationship and our connection. I also think about how it says the stones will cry out. And what I love is that like everything in science, everything is frequency. Like everything is making sound. We just can't hear it. We don't realize that, like, part of the word, actually, there are so many biblical terms that are musical. Like a standard, when you set a standard for something, but also a standard is music. And I'm telling you, it's like almost every word. Like, I'm going to write a book about it because it's like every single word I look up the definition of, like at the end somewhere, there's like an association with music. But how this entire creation is an orchestra. Literally an orchestration, like when things are in order, right? Out of chaos into order. He is a God of order. Also order and rank, but order, and order is arrangement. He arranges things, which means they have a relationship with each other. But there's like a term that has to do with like, it might be regulation when it talks about us having a sound mind and being self-controlled and how the Lord like regulates us. Oh yeah, because it talks about, it's like phroneo, and it has like where we get the word diaphragm, and it talks about like the Lord regulating us, and it's something about how like the orchestration of all scenes of life. Like he is orchestrating everything, but it's like, okay, so if it's an orchestration, like it's an orchestra. So anyway, everything is praising him. Everything is worshiping him. And even your existence is worshiping him. It's like you might not choose to acknowledge it, and that's the resistance part. That's the rebellion. And it's like, right, you're either for God or against him. And so it's like, if what happens is like we were faced with opposition. We were faced with a challenge. And rather than realizing that the challenges we face allow us to overcome, allow us to grow, allow us to mature, right? He says, I created the destroyer to wreak havoc. Right before he says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. There is an intention for us to have an opponent, just like a sport. It's a challenge. We rise to the occasion. We grow. And it's not anything that we can't overcome. We were designed to overcome it. But we saw opposition and we thought, no, I'm going to join the opposition. So we joined the opposition, and then what we ended up doing was opposing God. You're opposing one or the other. You're either going to oppose whatever's opposing God, or you're going to join it and you're going to oppose him. Now, he's never opposing you. He only opposes sin. He only opposes what opposes you. And he's trying to get it off. But the harder part is when we join forces with it, we have such an attachment, like a pacifier to our sin, that we're like, why are you taking this from me? He's like, because that's not, and then we start to identify with it. I am all of these things. These things are my life. These things are my personality. I love these things. He's like, those things are not you. You are underneath all of those things. You are so much bigger and brighter than all of those things. No. But anyway, that he's against the sin, but we think he's against us because he's trying to take the sin away from us, and we've grown an attachment to the sin. But we didn't like that we had opposition, and so then we joined the opposition, and now we were opposing God. And it's just like, that's not a fun life. I don't want to sit in that place. But the thing is if God is success by nature, right? Like sequence, he's created systems, meaning what does success mean? What comes next? That's what the definition of success means. What comes next? So anything, if you want any success in your life, it doesn't just show up on your doorstep. It's you take steps. And what comes next? Level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4, that's success. Succession. It's a sequence. So if God is success because he's designed things in order, then when you oppose him, you are opposing success. You are literally just choosing failure. Because it's all going to come to naught. If he is truth, you are choosing lies. You are choosing vanity and emptiness. You are choosing fruitlessness and producing nothing. Because all of the other is with him. It's within him. So it's like, you just got to get off this merry-go-round. And I'm only telling you because I did it. And I thought it was fun. And I was like in the world and I was like, I'm winning. Because like the world tells you, like pat you on the back, like when you do all of this stuff really well. And I was like, I'm on a merry-go-round, man. How do I get off this thing? And to get off of it was I had to give it all up. And I was like, but I don't want to give it all up. I like it. It's like sucking my thumb. I had to give it all up. And then I gave it all up and I'm like, boss, what are you talking about? This spirit, the Lord, yes, so much better. This petty, lame. But But you got to get out of it to realize it. When you're in it, oh, you're so convinced you're cool. You're so convinced that it is the better way and that all these people just don't have it figured out and that this is like, I'm doing things no one else can. I have access to things no one else can do. I'm better, blah, blah, blah. No, when you get out, you're like, I was an idiot, basically. I was an idiot. So it's me, not you. I'm the problem. Okay, I love you guys. I know it was long, but I'm back. So I'll post this. I'll do the discussion questions. I might be back tomorrow because I got a couple more, obviously, to finish up Luke. And then we'll at least have all the Gospels on the channel. And then I'll figure out what comes next, because I've told some of y'all that I'll continue and go into Acts and whatever. So other than that, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.